Hello, Ben here, hope you're well, and welcome to episode 29 of Benjy's Cafe podcast. Joining me for a coffee in Benjy's Cafe this week is the actor Emily-Mae. Emily is currently starring in the international smash hit musical Hamilton at the Victoria Palace Theatre in London. She played Balder in the original London cast of Frozen at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, and other credits include City of Angels at the Garrick Theatre and Nicky Maron in the UK tour of Bodyguard. In this episode, Emily discusses the joy of music, the supportive nature of the acting community, and her latest role, Angelica Schuyler.
The thing about Satisfied, which is Angelica's main song, there's so many fast thought changes so quickly with such quick language, and you have to just be in it. You can't blag it. You really have to be thinking that fast, and I think it's challenging, but it also makes it fun every night and different because it is such a challenge. I really have to work hard to flit between the thoughts, so it is tricky. But it is so clever, and it is quite nice to sit in the cleverness. Honestly, you could do a degree on Hamilton. There is so much in it.
Emily has a beautiful voice and a beautiful personality. I just know she'll make you smile. Welcome to Benjy's Cafe podcast, Emily-Mae. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
Morning, what a fantastic introduction. I was like, wow, this sounds like a really interesting person.
Look at you, rocking the red, full of colour, full of life as always. Have you had a nice little start to your day?
A lovely little start to my day. I've had a very, I'd say, rock and roll morning. I've got out of bed 10 minutes before this begun. I need to wash my face. I'm excited to be chatting to you today.
It's so lovely to see you. I last saw you when I was activities coordinator at Denville Hall, which is an actors' retirement home full of wonderful characters. My goodness, they love their music, they love their drama. And I remember I gave you a call. You were in Frozen at the time at Drury Lane. And it was around Christmas, and just to see if you guys would like to come in and entertain and sing. And in a heartbeat, Emily, you said, yes, we'd love to. And you organised a beautiful group of people, joyous souls. And you came in. And I just want to thank you again for that, because you made me happy. You made so many people happy. And I think you just performed a few lovely Christmas songs for an hour, but it really made their day. And I just want to thank you again, because you brought so much joy to that group of people.
Oh no, thank you for asking us, because still to this day, that is one of the most special days, because the singing was obviously was nice. It was nice to share that with them, but it was better just chatting with them after. And they had such incredible showbiz lives. There were some really incredible characters in there, and the stuff that they were talking about, and they were so ready to chat, and I love a chat. So it was just a perfect mixture. And it was Christmas vibes, and it was wonderful. So thanks for asking us to come, because it was just a nice day, and we got loads of mince pies, tea. It was lovely.
We all love a cheeky mince. I could have a mince pie now, actually. Is it too early? I don't think so. I think they're in the shops, aren't they?
It's never too early. Bake-Off's on, so I think you can eat any treat now.
I'm heading straight to Tesco after this, Emily, and I'm going to get some mince pies in that basket, I tell you. But isn't it lovely, just the joy that music brings people? It can, not only as a performer, it can lift your soul, can't it? But just the way it can help, just give a light to other people as well. Not only if you're on stage in front of 2,000-3,000 people as you are at the moment, but even a small group like that. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing, isn't it?
Oh, it's gorgeous, and it's so universal, and especially Christmas carols, because we've all got such strong memories to certain Christmas songs. And when the group that went were decided who's going to sing what, it got a bit well, I want to sing this, because everyone's got quite an ownership over certain songs because of the memories or what it means to you. So it is nice to share that with people. But the music is amazing, isn't it? It's so uplifting. It's sometimes even the cheesy music that gets you. When I'm in a really good mood, sometimes a bit of a sad song helps me get even happier. Do you know what I mean? There's so many weird combinations of music, but it is fantastic.
I know. Oh, it's just beautiful. It can trigger a little kitchen dance, can't it? But if you're feeling a bit low, just a little sing-song can just raise the spirits. And what's your favourite song to sing? Do you have a favourite?
Oh, that's hard, you know. I feel like I sing so much. I'm probably one of those I'm probably the most annoying person to be around daily, because I will just sing. Just get excited. I'm like, whoa. But I do love singing God Only Knows, the Beach Boys.
Beach Boys.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, I like
it's one of the boys, isn't it? But yeah, it's the Beach Boys.
that song. I think is beautiful. I love a bit of an anti-love song.
Yeah,
If I loved you, and God only know, always a bit of a question on the love, and I feel like they're so beautiful to sing. And it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. I don't know if it's, I can't remember a memory of my childhood, but it feels really nostalgic
yeah,
every time. And I think it's just such a gorgeous, like, even just the intro, it feels so simple,
yeah.
but it means so much. The lyrics are so gorgeous. That's
Oh, isn't it funny? You can have a vivid memory of hearing a
Mm.
song for the first time, but it can just have a connection, can't it? And it's so hard to put your finger on it. I love Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Oh, what a night, and or Who Loves You Pretty. Oh my God, is that my head voice? Beep up a boo. It's been a while. It's been a while. Oh, I'm off tonight. But isn't it funny that those, and when you hear like an intro just like that, it can just put you in such a lovely mood for the day, can't it?
It takes you back. I mean, the minute you hear like "Come on, Eileen" starting, you're
Oh,
immediately in like some kid's party or a wedding of your aunt from years ago, and it just drops you straight back in, and it's just amazing.
yeah. Was there much music in your household growing up, Emily?
Oh, so much. I mean, excessively. A memory of like being little is my nan and granddad had like a tape player in the car, and they used to sort of like fight over who'd pick the tape for this journey, etc. And so like my granddad had behind the green door was his like tape, and my nana's was lipstick on your collar.
Oh,
And, like,
amazing.
so that was like that's a very young memory of music from a young age. Just and also very like theatrical songs. They're not theatre songs, but they've always got a story and they're always like moving along. They're not just pop music for no reason. There's always like an intention behind it. And then at home, my mum was always listening to Lauryn Hill, so I remember I was like
Oh,
far too young.
amazing.
Like, it's funny how money changes situations. You'll probably be like, what's she doing? So music was always on, which I think now I struggle with a really quiet house. Like there has
Yeah.
to be something on at any point, otherwise it feels a bit, I don't know, a bit empty.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? That even if you have the radio on low, it's just for a lot of people, it's like their comfort for the day, isn't it? Even if it's just like spoken radio.
Oh, 100%. Just having something to listen to. It sort of wakes you up as well and gets you ready for the day. And I love a podcast. I love listening to different, because otherwise you get so stuck in your own thoughts and in your
Yeah,
own what you think is right. Sometimes it's nice to listen to podcasts that I know nothing about, like business podcast or finance, just to hear, I don't know, something else that's happening in the world, and I won't have a clue what's going on. But sometimes it's nice just to get you out of your own head a little bit when you get a bit like bogged down with your own thoughts. It's nice just to be like, oh God, there's so much else going on.
do you think as well that I kind of find that because from a creative background, but you give every night, don't you? That's the nature of the job. You're giving your soul, you're giving your talent to thousands of people. Do you think it's just a chance for that side of your brain to switch off, just to listen and try and absorb something just completely different?
Oh, 100%. And I don't know if you feel this, but there's in this like freelancy world that we're in, there's always this, what else could I be doing? Maybe I should be
Oh,
doing that. And oh, maybe I write a short play. And oh, maybe I should go to this acting class. And you're always just like fighting for the next thing. I think it's from when you're unemployed, you do have to, you're always on the grind. You can never stop because you have to eat. And I don't think it ever dies. Like when you're in something, that fire and that feeling of, gosh, I should be doing something else. And what else could I be doing? It's like you're always reaching for the next thing. And I think
yeah,
that's really hard. I find it really hard to switch that off. So it is
yeah.
quite nice to listen to something that is nothing to do with the industry, just to like reset you back to life. And it's sort of, I don't know, you enjoy other things a bit more, and you sort of, the blinkers come down and you can enjoy other things, because it is so hard not to be like the grind, the graft. What can I do to be better? Which is not a bad thing necessarily, but you don't want that to become the be all and end all.
Yeah, it's very hard though, isn't it? Especially when you're first diving into the career, into theatre and TV, and it's everything, isn't it? And you're rushing to auditions, you're rushing, you're self-taping, you're trying to squeeze that between the in-between jobs, and it is very hard, isn't it? But the good thing is, like, it does I've sort of eased off a little bit with the theatre work, but you do find a lovely balance, and it sounds like you've completely got that and you understand that, Emily. Which do you think that gives you kind of more energy between jobs to kind of push yourself more when it comes to auditions?
I think so. I don't think I've mastered it yet. I
Yeah.
mean, finished a tour at the start of the year, and then I started this job in July. Yeah, July. So I had that like nice gap, and the first 2 months I was like, yeah, this is great. Getting back to life, seeing the fam, like really nice to reconnect with friends and have time for myself. And God, I've got a Friday evening again. And then like 3 months in, I was like chomping at the bit. I was like, right, what can I do? What course can I take? What can I do to better myself? There's so much in your brain and there's so much to try and do.
Yeah.
It is really hard. If anyone knows how to, let us know. Comment below because it's hard to find the balance of enjoying where you are, trying to rest, um, refueling and keeping up the practice for auditions, but also like having fun. It's tricky it's really tricky to balance, and I'm really trying actively to do it. Like recently I realized sort of a realization of myself, I find it really difficult to rest.
Really?
And I sort of have noticed it in myself because you have to rest because your voice gets tired and your brain gets sleepy, and not even from the show but just in life. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just need to do nothing, and I
Oh,
find it difficult to switch that off. But I think that's the balance. Everybody struggles with that balance, don't they? Like, regardless of
yeah.
what career it is or what you're doing, that is going to be the ongoing thing.
Yeah, and it's tricky, isn't it? Because especially with your schedule, your day is kind of flipped. You're peaking at like 6, half 6, and showtime 7:30 invariably earlier on matinee days, and it's quite hard, isn't it, to kind of gauge your sort of energy levels during the day when showtime is when you got to be right up there.
Yeah, and you wanna fit things in, like you wanna see friends, and because that is it's kind of your evening, so you kind of have to you've got to imagine whatever you would do in the evening of like a 9 to 5, you would just do in the morning time. But it's so hard because you wake up so tired because the adrenaline is like all crap. Like you finish the night on a big applause and woo, and you're going home, and then it all dies so quickly. So you wake up so exhausted. It's like a constant being hit by a bus. But then you wanna use your day. But you're right, you can't do something too extravagant. But I think it's finding the balance. You're like your adrenaline's kicking and you're buzzing for the show, and sometimes you're really slogging through this class. And then you're like, I've got to do 3 hours of Hamilton now. Like, how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
So it is like I say, it's a flip because obviously the start of the year I was working in the daytime and had the evenings off. So now it's just like getting my body used to the other way around.
Yeah. When you call it this job you're in at the moment, Emily, like, my God, we try to schedule this sort of 2 or 3 times. I think we played a bit of schedule tennis, um, and it could not have been for a happy reason that we had to reschedule and reschedule, because this job you're in at the moment, it's Hamilton. Like, wow, international smash hit, West End, amazing part, Angelica Schuyler. How does it feel? Has it sunk in yet? And also, if you can remember that moment when you found out, and because you must have invested so much in that audition process.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It definitely hasn't sunken in yet, and like I really am so grateful to be there. And it sounds so cheesy. I know people are, oh, hashtag blessed, but honestly,
It
I feel so lucky to be there. It's sort of like I'm a lottery winner. I keep saying life is really good at the minute, and I'm either in a coma or like really good dream because it's it's bonkers, and I'm very very grateful to be there. It was such a quick turnaround. Obviously, I was at home back in Barnsley after finishing tour, living with my dad. Very lucky that I can just go home. As an actor, you don't know what's going to happen, and I
Yeah.
was trying to save up to buy a house, so I was back in my childhood bedroom. Sort of thinking, God, what the hell am I going to do next? Very scary times. Um, and picked up little bits of work. Like I was working at a photo booth company at weddings, and I joined like a promo agency. So I was working like festivals, giving out free stuff, and like I'll always try and make the best of a tricky situation. But it was scary, the fear of the unknown of when's the next thing going to be? Is there going to be a next thing? What else can I do? And all this sort of stuff. And I think the first time we had to reschedule, I was in for a different show that I got right to the end to and then didn't get. So there was like a lot of rejection and fear, and I was like, oh God, and it's terrifying. Like when people are like, oh God, your job's so glamorous and you've been so, it's like, yeah, but there's so much that is behind all the success, and it's really tricky to navigate that and to keep going. Like, and then this audition came up, and I'd never been in Hamilton before, so it'd never really been on my radar. I'd never really even thought about it. I didn't really know the show that well. Like, it had always just been, I think I'd thought of it as this like this cool thing. And I was like, God, I'm not cool at this. What have to be that? And it's that magical, hyped musical, which is fantastic. But I just sort of missed the boat on it. I don't know, I'd sort of put myself as, oh, I'm never going to be in that, so I'm just not going to even sort of look at it. When the audition came up, I was like, okay, great, yep, I'll do it, let's go in. And it was really nice audition process, really lovely panel. Always felt super comfortable because obviously the material is so hard and really fast, and you have to put so much time into it just to even get it semi-okay. So like, I remember when I first started learning the rap, and I was in my childhood bedroom, just doubling down. And my dad knocked and was like, you're going to have to get better than that. Like,
You're like, cheers, Dad.
You sound a lot better than that on the soundtrack. Like, you sound like you're rushing. I was like, I am rushing. It's very fast. But it all getting the job. I think I got the job on the Thursday, and I started rehearsals on the Monday. And I was in Barnsley, so luckily I've got my magical friend Jack down here. I was like, I'm moving in for the foreseeable. So I came down with my big suitcase and started on the Monday and just went straight in. I started a bit after the rest of the cast, so I was learning it with the third covers, and it was all just, it's bonkers. And it still hasn't sunk in. And when I think about how fast that sort of happened, I had a 5-week rehearsal process.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know the show. I knew my bits now from the audition,
Yeah,
but it's an ensemble piece. So there's so much where even when it's not your main part, you're still on the stage, you're still singing backing vocals, you're still reacting. So there was so much to learn. And it was so overwhelming, but it's such a lovely building and everybody is so nice. I mean, it was a very lucky industry that most people are just nice, funny people that will just help you out. So I felt very supported. But that first night, I was terrified. And I had my family and my friends and my boyfriend in the audience, and I was like, I don't know if I know it. I don't know. I do know it. Yeah, 5 weeks.
That was most of my acting career, Emily.
It's like it's so scary, and there's a lot of I feel a lot of responsibility. Maybe pressure's not the right word, but responsibility, because the show is so loved. Like, you see people in the audience miming every word, and at stage door, people say, "God, Angelica's my favorite character in any musical," and there feels a lot of responsibility. So it is that is a good and a bad thing, that you want to do it justice. So you have to make sure you're on it every night, because there are people there that know it more than I do. So I have to make sure I'm doing it justice for them. But it is, I'm so lucky to be there. It is bonkers. It's bonkers.
And what a creative team as well. The music, the book, Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's just, like, do you feel it challenges you as a performer? Like, because the content, the material is so good, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, learning it is tricky, and I think the thing about Satisfied, which is Angelica's like main song, there's so many fast thought changes so quickly with such quick language. and you have to just be in it. You can't like blag it. You really have to be thinking that fast. And I'm quite a slow thinker, is what I've realised after trying to is I like taking my time and, well, maybe if I did that and maybe if I did that, and she's not that. She can flip between things so quickly. And I think it's challenging, but it also makes it fun every night and different, because it is such a challenge. I really have to work hard to flit between the thoughts. So even if I'm having a bit of a slow day and, I've had quite a chill morning, maybe I've been for coffee with my friends, I really have to
Yeah.
like dig into, okay, no, she's thinking fast, she's on it. And that keeps it interesting. So it is tricky, but it is so clever, and it is quite nice to sit in the cleverness. Like some of the lyrics I'm still finding, and like the MD Chris is still telling me, oh, I discovered this today, like what this means, or this is a bit of English language that is used here, and this is a reference to Macbeth, and this is a reference to, and there's so much to find. Like it honestly, you could do a degree on Hamilton. Like there is so much in it. Which is so interesting and so special for an actor, because it's not just one thing. Because obviously, if you do one thing every night, you could find some
Yeah.
boredom. You need to find things to spice it up. But there's so much in it already. I don't know if I mean, I'm only a month in, but I can't imagine getting bored with it. There's just so much to find. But yeah, it's a very special piece of theatre. I mean, I can't believe I missed the hype for so long.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And how lovely that you went through that rehearsal process. You were in every night with such a supportive group of people. People are so caring and full of joy and just want to make people happy. And that must be lovely, knowing you're going to go into work every day and have that feeling from the company.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been very lucky, like you say, with casts, that there's only been a few, like one or two that you'd sort of think, but I suppose it happens everywhere. But
Yeah.
generally, people are just so open-hearted, and you have to be so vulnerable to be an actor, I think. There's so much, there's more bad than good in a way. So I think that vulnerability just makes people so loving and caring and supportive, because we know how everybody else feels every
Yeah.
time.
And I think that's what makes us bloody tough, brilliant people, Emily. It's great to feel cheesy. It's great to feel those emotions when you're with like-minded people. I remember when we did it was Aladdin at the Corn Exchange in Newbury together, which was joyous fun. But that was just in between, I think, the COVID lockdowns, wasn't it? I think we got halfway through the run, and that first performance, when we were out in front of an audience who'd been isolated all year, we'd been isolated all year. You can't explain it, but the emotions were so high. We can put ourselves in these situations where we can have those feelings of joy.
Yeah, so true. And I mean, I think I feel things to the extreme. Any emotion, I think I feel it to the extreme. So joy is like, I remember the first show, because we'd been in masks in rehearsals, and
Yeah, my God.
like,
Yeah, and I wasn't even playing the Phantom.
we were like, I can't remember. Were you? You were like Tiger
I
King.
was, oh my God. I was Abanazar Exotic, but played it as, what was he called? Joe Exotic?
Yeah. And I was like Celia Siri. So I was like Siri from your phone that came to life. Like,
Oh God! But what a great script! It was
oh,
brilliant, wasn't
so
it?
brilliant.
Oh God!
But yeah, that feeling after just performing, because we'd been locked in and we didn't know when we were going to come back, and we didn't know how long we'd be going on for, because we, like I say, I think we only did about 3 weeks, and then the country went into the tier systems. Um, but it was so joyous, and I remember just feeling so emotional and so lucky, because so many
Yeah,
people were working, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
yeah. What I love is you mentioning that you're there learning your Hamilton sides back in your childhood room with your dad there, company manager / musical director / associate director for the
Always.
Emily-Mae production. I love it. But isn't it nuts that it's such a mad career that your year can change
Oh,
in a switch, can't it? You're back there learning sides that potentially can propel your next year into a wonderful place, and it's hard. I don't think people realise how hard it is. We train, we work hard to put ourselves in a good position to be able to work, but those periods are difficult, aren't they? And
It's
I've every admiration for you. I really do.
it's so difficult, and it's so hard because I know people who've had it a lot. Like I've had a very lucky career, and I've been very lucky with my opportunities and everything that's happened. So I don't want to be like it's really difficult for me, but it was that because it's just the unknown. You just don't know, and like you say, things change so quickly, um, like scarily quickly. Which it takes a while for you to sort of get your head around what's happened because I was at home really starting to eat into my savings, working iddy little bitty jobs, trying to have fun with my friends and enjoy the rest time. But it's so hard because you're just thinking, okay, well, let's be pragmatic. If I don't work again, like if there's no, how long would I not work before I start thinking what's next and what should I be doing otherwise just to even make money and just
Yeah.
little things that I'm not that frugal and I'm not that like business minded to think what should I be having a side hustle? Should I be doing something else to then get a final audition to then be straight in the next day? And it's like,
Yeah.
gosh, it flips everything on its head and I'm very lucky that I've got a really supportive family and like incredible friends who have listened to copious amounts of voice notes from me and FaceTime and like I bring my dad at the smallest inconvenience to have like a live chat and it's hard to because when you're in it you're so tunnel vision with auditions and career stuff and sometimes you just need someone to sort of lift the lid on life a little bit well there's more to life, you need to go and enjoy yourself and have those experiences, but it's so tricky sometimes to tell yourself
Yeah.
that.
Your dad sounds such a great chap, Emily. Has he been a real guidance for you, would you say, from an early age, and also supported your route into theatre?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've had a really supportive, like my mum and dad and nan and granddad are like, we're always like, and none of them are theatrical, but they've always said, do whatever you want to do, you just have to give it 100%. They are really supportive, and I know sometimes my dad is scared of the industry and like
Yeah.
leaving Frozen, for example. Like luckily they offered everyone in Frozen to stay another year, and I said, oh no, I'm going to go and risk it and see what's out there. Our dad was like, why are you leaving this incredible job? Like, it's
Yeah.
hard sometimes for him to get his head around that. But they love the showbiz world now. They're always at a press night. My dad gives me notes on my self tapes, like being at home. He'll self tape with me and be like, I didn't believe what you said there. And they're so in it.
That's
And
so great.
it's so lovely. They're just, I suppose whatever I'd have done, they'd have thrown themselves into and learnt all about it, and they understand everything now. Like they know about beginners calls and company managers, and they know all the lingo. Um, but yeah, my dad is always anything that happens is normally what would my dad think or
Yeah.
what's the dad version? I'm trying to adult now. I'm now thinking what would dad say, and I try and guess before I ring him to see if I get it right. I'm not quite there.
Oh.
I think I've got a few more years of adulting to go. Um,
But
yeah,
how great he's there as a wonderful sounding board. I think that's so great.
yeah.
You mentioned Frozen there. How is that? My goodness, big old Disney juggernaut. Was that good fun at Drury Lane as well? Like what a beautiful theatre. I had an open there. I think it was back in like 1954 for Miss Saigon. I didn't get it. You move on. But but it's like a beautiful theatre with so much history, isn't it? And to be in a spanking new show like that must have been pretty cool.
It was nuts because also I got that job pre-COVID, and then obviously it kept getting pushed back and pushed back. And I think feel very grateful for that because in the lockdowns when we kept going in and out, I knew that it was always going to happen. It was Disney. It was going to happen at some point. So it was quite nice. It was like a light at the end of the tunnel. Um, but finally getting there and like it was tricky, like the organization that they must have gone through because we were testing every day to go into rehearsals in like a little tent outside before we went in. It was just like it must have been a logistical nightmare that I don't fully understand. I'm just grateful I was there. um It was amazing, and everybody was so excited to be back at work. So the rehearsal process was joyous because everyone couldn't believe we were back in there. We were dancing with masks, but we were and hand washing excessively, but it was so brilliant just to be like back in this creative space when it felt like years. And I
Yeah.
remember going on the stage for the first time, and it's huge. It's so huge, and obviously it was brand new, and seeing like all these actors and all the technical departments, and because it was a huge show, like not just cast, like the backstage was
Oh,
humongous.
sure, yeah.
Seeing everybody on there looking at this new beautiful theatre, like it was so I was like weeping. It was so emotional just to be back when it felt so like I was so despairing of everything. It felt like it was never we were never going to get back. To be
Yeah.
there was just brilliant, and it was such a fantastic year. It was just a wonderful year. So it was a hard decision to leave because I sort of thought to myself, if I never leave, if I don't leave now, I'll never leave. You know, like
Yeah. It's a brave decision, isn't it? Did you really think long and hard? Was it quite a tough call for you?
it was hard, and I sort of my reasoning was sort of I don't have a mortgage right now. I don't have any kids. I don't like there will come a point, hopefully, in life where I'll need to stay. So I thought,
Yeah.
whilst I'm not as scared, and I'm still scared, but whilst I'm not as scared, I should go now because hopefully there'll come a point where I won't be able to. I'll just think, well, I have to stay now because the kid needs shoes, you know.
And contrasting being in a new production at Drury Lane, huge, huge theatre, and then you played Oda in The Producers at the Royal Exchange, Manchester. What a venue! What a brilliant
Oh,
creative
God.
city Manchester is. I love it. But that must have been great as well because that was in the Rand, wasn't it?
Was my favorite. I mean, I don't want to like make anybody other jobs feel bad. Not that jobs would feel bad, but that was my favorite gig. Like, what a theatre! It's in the Round. It's so well run, and they look after you so well. Like, the dressing rooms have little beds on top, so you can have little
Do
pre-show.
they?
Yeah. Um, I had my
Oh,
hair. I had my hair plaited for every show by Crystal, wonderful wig Crystal, and it's just such a wonderful space, and they're all so passionate about what they do. Like, it doesn't feel like a hierarchy of like producer and it really feels like everybody is just in it to make the best bit of theatre, and we were all on a company wage, which just is fantastic. Like everybody feels so involved and so like part of the gang. It really felt
yeah.
ensemble. Um, and what a show! I mean, it's just I find it's such a hilarious show, and
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
doing it in the Round is just bonkers because it
Yeah.
feels so exposed to everything, but also like the audience is sort of part of the show. Like it's like another cast member because they're everywhere. Um, so exciting. Um,
I love the fact they had beds in the dressing rooms. When I'm next shopping in Manchester, if I feel like my afternoon nap, I'm just going to break in and be like,
I
I know Emily-Mae. I'm having a 40-minute nap here. I love that. Although I
love it.
probably wouldn't fit in. I'm 6'6". I wouldn't fit in one of those beds. So
I'm six, and like it's the full length of the like dressing room desk. It's phenomenal.
and vocally, you mentioned drinking water there. Like that's big, isn't it? Like hydration is huge. Like is that kind of in the forefront of your brain sort of as soon as you wake up, kind of thing?
Excessively. I think that's, and I realised it once I was not working, how much I think about drinking water. And it might be psychosomatic, but if I haven't drunk a lot of water, I just feel bad. Like I just feel more nervous, and there's nothing worse than going on to start the show and feeling a bit, you just want to
Yeah.
be feeling like, oh, semi okay. Like obviously you can't be fantastic every day, but you want to know at least I've got a foundation of like four
Yeah.
just to keep me going. But I think there's a lot of singing. You know, people talk about lots of different things to keep their voice healthy, and people swear by a lot of different things. But for me, I think it's just water and sleep. Like if
Yeah. Just that
I haven't,
rest, complete
yeah,
rest.
if I haven't had a good sleep and water, it's sort of you got to hope for the best. Take a lot of Jakemans, but
Yeah.
there's so many like, and I know every voice is different, so it's hard. But when I like teach kids, or if I'm giving workshops for kids and stuff, and they've got so many, does this work? Does this work? And I'm like, a lot of it is really expensive as well, and a lot of
Yeah.
it's really stressful. And I think you got to like simplify it. Like my singing teacher at Arts Ed, Anne James, would always be like, when I'd get stressed about a certain technique or I'd get a bit in my own head, she'd be like, "You don't think about talking, so why are you thinking this much about singing?" She was like,
Yeah.
make it more simple. Stop making it dramatic. It's just an extension of talking, and I think that goes for the same with like vocal health. You're not thinking about drinking water for speaking, so just stop stressing about it so much, because that stress is then like, oh, tightens everything up.
Would you
So
say when you're on stage tonight and you've finished your number, that's where you sort of feel most complete, most happy in your life? Or you mentioned you've got wonderful supportive family and friends, and do you think there's an argument that you can feel equally as happy off stage as on stage?
that's a really good question, and I think the ongoing question of my life is I feel so much joy and safety being on a stage. It feels really comfortable, and it feels just normal, and and I have to work out like feeling that comfortable and normal in everyday life. And it's weird that it's sort of that way around, because a lot of my like non-performing friends would say like, "Oh God, I can't imagine being on stage in front of that many people," and God, it'd be my worst nightmare. And I feel the most comfortable and normal, because it's sort of all the like stresses and fears that you think about yourself, and the anxieties that you have, and the self-consciousness that you have as Ben and Emily is stripped, and you're just this completely different person that doesn't have those worries, and you're not thinking about, God, man, I've got this massive spot in the middle of my head, and you all is just sort of gone, and you sort of shedded of that. um so I think my challenge is finding that like freedom in
Yeah.
normal life, because I do feel very free and I am very happy, but there is something about being on stage which is like, I don't know, it's like an internal joy that I can't really explain. Um,
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And you,
it sounds so weird and again a bit cheesy and a bit like it was my calling, but it feels really right. Um, but I am very lucky that I have got friends that understand, friends and boyfriends and family that understand that. And I do have a fantastic life outside of it. And it's finding the balance with both.
yeah. Well, you're completely heading in the right direction. My goodness, Emily, you were such a joy to work with. Your energy is beautiful, and I'm so happy that your career is flying, and you were just so positive to work with, and being a nice person, smiling, saying hello to people. It can just really help someone's day, can't it? And
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much to be sad about, isn't there?
yeah,
There's a lot going on in the world which is terrifying, and obviously there's a lot going on in personal lives and stuff. But I don't know. I think my nana and my mum would always say, if you could be a little bit of happiness in someone's day, like you don't know what it is. And like my boyfriend calls me Belle because I'll always talk to people in the street, or like I'll always be like, "Oh, your phone torch is on," or "Excuse me, you've dropped this," and da da da. And he says everyone always talks to me. I'm like Belle in Beauty and the Beast, but I think it is good to connect with people, and even if it's for a short second, you don't know what they've got, what day they're having, and just little things cheer you up. And it happens to you when you're having a bad day, and someone might be like, "Oh my God, I love your earrings on the tube." You're like,
yeah.
oh, it sticks with you. So that feeling is nice just to pass on to other people, and it is that's what we're here for, isn't it? Otherwise, there's no point in doing.
Exactly, and don't ever change, Emily, because you do make such a huge difference. I know you've got a show tonight. I like to ask my guests, what's on the dinner menu? Like, what's your plan for today?
What I'm going to do after we finish this podcast, I'm going to have a big old brunch. I love,
Oh, here we
love
go.
a brunch. I've got like mushrooms, avocado, toast, eggs, beans, a big old
Oh,
mug of coffee, really to set me up for the day. And then I've got
amazing.
a little Waitrose chili con carne in the fridge at work waiting for me, which is really show
Oh, hello.
those ready meals. And then I
Well
love
then, that sounds. It sounds great. Blimey, you're making me hungry. Well, listen, enjoy your brunch and your pre-show chili con carne. Yeah, I think you should play Angelica Schuyler as Lauryn Hill tonight, singing "Lipstick on Your Collar." Let's get a mashup going in Hamilton tonight. Emily, you are delightful. It's been so lovely to talk to you. Keep being you. Keep being wonderful. Keep making so many people happy. And thank you so much for joining me in Benjy's Cafe podcast.
Having me, I'm so glad we could make it work. What a fantastic podcast. I'm excited to be on.
Thanks for listening to Emily-Mae on Benjy's Cafe podcast. 100% feel good. Make sure you hit follow so every episode gets sent straight to your phone. Tell your friends, tell your family, and if you can, please leave a review. No booking required, and a brand spanking new episode every Tuesday. Just find us wherever you get your podcasts. In episode 30, I'm joined by one of the country's best-loved personalities, the actor and presenter, Les Dennis. I'll get the kettle on. Have a great day.